Alright, I am here in lovely Warrington, and it is Saturday the 28th of September, which means that it's the National Diplomacy Championships here in the UK. As you can see from my hotel room, I've got an amazing view of an industrial building, a car park, and there's a nice park over that side, so there's something nice at least. It's actually round 2 of the UK Nationals. Round 1 happened yesterday, and I'm kind of glad I wasn't filming that, because it went rather badly for me. I played at Germany, everything seemed fine early on with a nice alliance with France, but just before we managed to kill England, I got ganked by Austria, Russia, and they did not break, so I ended up on 4 supply centers, hoping to do a little bit better than that today. And you'll see, because I'll be recording at least part of it, probably not the negotiations themselves. I don't know how comfortable people will feel about that, but I can vlog my results. I do have a secret weapon today to try and make things go a little better. That secret weapon is over here. So the hotel I'm staying at has been refilling my coffee machine stuff repeatedly, so I now have a huge collection of these somewhat unidentifiable coffee pods and some Galaxy hot chocolate, like, instant stuff. I'm not sure how useful they'll be, but perhaps someone somewhere at the Diplomacy Championship is staying at the hotel and really enjoys coffee. I don't know. Maybe they have the unidentifiable coffee machine at their house. So I'm going to see if I can use this to try and get a bit of an advantage in the game. Trade it for something. We'll see. Alright, I'll see you at the event. Okay, so here is our venue, Geek Retreat in Warrington. I am about to head in. I believe most of the diplomacy people are there because it's nearly round start time. Turns out I'm probably not going to be actually playing, because as can happen with diplomacy, there's a weird number of people, and so they needed to find some sit-outs. But hopefully there should be some good games anyway, and I will be able to record some stuff. So, here is our esteemed tournament director, who I'm going to grab from his current conversation. Sorry. Do you want to come talk about the UK Dip Championship that's happening?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Somewhere quieter, I guess?
Against the end of it.
Yeah, perfect. Alright, so over here is where the boards will be. You can see some people gathering around them right now. Hopefully, should be some good games. It's a little noisy in here,
It's a bit
but
echoey.
it should work fine. So, you've started up the National Championship basically after a few years of no tournaments at all in the UK, right?
Yes. Basically, there was an event 2 years ago, and I was just like, I want another event, and I might as well run it if no one else is. That was essentially the logic.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, these tournaments kind of live or die by the people willing to run them, right?
Exactly.
So, thank you very much for being willing to start one up. How did you manage to get this venue for it? Was it just like walking in and asking?
Pretty much. So I live around the corner from here. I was thinking of a venue. I just looked online. I saw this place, and I just walked in and talked to the owner. That's pretty much all I did.
Fantastic.
Everyone assumes that it's a massive amount of work, and it is to an extent, but as soon as you've got the venue, that's the hard part done. Mm-hmm. So yeah, as soon as I was able to sort this out, the rest just happened.
I mean, talking about massive amounts of work, yesterday you had to both GM and play on one of the boards to make sure that you had enough players, right?
That's correct. And
How did that go?
So you know the story.
I know, but the viewers don't know.
So I did the board draw, and I know, like, completely random, and I had no way to prove it's random, but it was. But the way I can prove it's random is I gave myself England with Dan Lester and Toby Harris as France and Germany.
Incredible.
Like,
So for reference there, Dan Lester is he the reigning world champion? No, he's
2022.
2022 world champion, and Toby Harris is also a world champion.
Yeah, and he won it in like 2015, and they've both been playing like 30 years, and they're both incredible.
Yes.
And I've got to like focus on this organising thing while trying to beat these two.
And that didn't go so well, right?
I convinced Dan to stab Toby, and I jumped on board with the EG, And then Dan ruthlessly stabbed me and I was eliminated shortly after.
Yes.
In fact, no, someone was arriving late, so he took over my position as a 2-center England. And I felt really bad, but I genuinely did as well as I could. I was just playing against Dan and Toby.
Yep. I'm kind of glad I didn't get placed on the board of death yesterday, but I also didn't do too well, so we're in that together.
Germany with an Eastern triple, what can I say?
Yeah. All right, well, thank you very much for running this, and we're hoping for some really good games today. Let's see how it goes.
No problem, thank you.
All right, so here we have Micah, Isaac, and David, who are the 3 people who ruthlessly murdered me yesterday on the board. So you two had a joint top on 9, and Russia out on 7. So it's a really solid result from all 3 of you.
Thank you.
So very good result indeed. I don't actually have any prepared questions. Does anyone want to talk through what they were thinking at the start of the game, at least?
I was thinking that I didn't like how close A&R was, and tried to get an IT on going, at least as a potential option. Russia was having none of it, and I went, if you can't beat them, join them.
So, speaking of that, there was a broken demilitarized zone in Galicia in the first year,
There
right?
was not, no.
No?
No.
It certainly looked to the rest of the board like
yes,
there was.
that's what we told people it was. But I had
I was
David,
invited in.
It was rain.
David and I have never played together. David said he's a big alliance player and that he really likes solid alliances. I like him as well. But he wanted to balance and kind of build it up slowly, and I thought, if I'm just gonna let him go into Galicia, that straight away puts that trust. He told me he was not a stabber, that he would never just take one of my senses, and I believe that. So I usually don't ever let Russia into Galicia because it's a bad move. But for David, I felt like I could.
And I stuck to it.
Yeah.
You kept your word the entire game.
Not a single stab now.
This
Well,
is-
not on there anyway. Sorry, Markus.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about diplomacy, right? You can have the best tactics in the world, but the negotiation is what really matters. And you guys really
I
spoke up.
wanted to ally with you as well, but sometimes we were allies, sometimes we were fighting back to allies. We just couldn't get it going because of pressures elsewhere.
I think you did end being up the biggest stabber because you stabbed Germany. We have not stabbed anyone the entire game.
Excuse me, you attacked me as well.
I attacked you, I did not stab you.
Was taking Trieste the stab?
No,
Great.
Trieste was arranged.
Right at the end. Him taking Trieste right at the end.
Oh no,
That wasn't a stab. That was just defending one of my centers. Trieste is and always should be Italian.
All right, so yeah, we had this joint top result and a second result going into the next round. Do you think there's an advantage to that being a little bit less than Dan Lester over there scored on his board?
I think it has to be.
I think he's got a bit of a giant target on his back.
And we sort of have a decent result without having a giant target on our backs, but also without it, it doesn't make us look too scary, even if you just go off the pure numbers.
I was just told that this was a bad result and that I should have fought harder for a lone top.
I was told that I should have got a lone top, but some people didn't defend well enough for me to be able to get one.
I see,
I
I
think
see,
it wasn't
yes.
realistic anyways. I'm glad with my result. I hope I don't have a target on my back, but we didn't do
And I was
that
told
well.
I should have fought on to try and get part of the three-way, so we've all been told different things.
I'm just glad I didn't stab 5 people, so that's gonna be good for the next round.
That is always good.
All right, so
And I don't have to play Russia again.
oh yeah, that is very true. You told me before the round started, right? There was one country you really didn't want to play, and you wouldn't tell me what that was, and it ended up being the country you were playing.
But better than you expected.
Yeah, it was a really solid result regardless. All right, well, the 3 of you are all playing today, right?
Yes.
Well, someone's going to sit out, but hopefully not us.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
entire weekend, all games.
I'm playing.
Hope so.
well, best of luck to you all, and let's hope to follow up on that result with another great one.
Yeah.
You too.
Not too great, because I would like to beat
No,
you,
no,
but
no, I think
we'll
the
see.
greatest. I think actually much greater than yours.
All right. Hey Theo, you are the France to my Germany. You were my lifeline in that game.
Yeah, and you were mine. I think once against but facing an AR for the whole game. I think it was rough.
Yeah. I mean, in the very early game, right, we had, I think it was this opening, right, from England, and then they bounced me out of Holland with this unit. So at that point, they'd agreed with you to build, I think I wasn't filming the right area there, but whatever. I think they'd agreed with you that you built Army Brest in return for that, and we chatted about that, and you built Fleet Brest instead. So you absolutely saved my life with that move.
Especially in a time game.
Otherwise, I was extremely screwed.
I think, I needed Fleet Brest, really. And you're having Fleet Brest and Fleet Marseille fighting against England. That felt like the thing to do, and it mostly worked.
Yeah, it was.
It worked for a while.
It worked until the East got involved, right?
Yes.
We managed to dismantle England pretty effectively. Actually, Conrad stayed alive right at the end, right?
Yeah, Edinburgh and then snuck into Brest.
Yeah, really good play from him, but we nearly dismantled him in time, and then we got attacked by Italy, Austria, Russia, all along like the entire line, right? Yeah. So you had fleets everywhere. That was a tough one. But at the end, we did manage to achieve something great.
We did achieve something very great.
Do you want to say what that great thing was?
All armies in England.
Yes.
All armies in Edinburgh, Liverpool, and London for one turn. We had to disband them.
Yeah, we did disband them because they are not very strategically viable having 3 armies here. But it was still a great thing to
Very entertaining. Okay, Lester.
yes. And then the game drew on the next turn, so I guess we intimidated them with our...
It was power play.
all right, well, very well played. I wish you the best of luck today. I hope you get as good of an ally as I was, but hopefully do a little better than you did with me.
Yes, we'll see how it goes. Thank you.
Right, I am here with Dan Lester, who is our current tournament leader, right?
This guy.
And former world champion in 2022. You also ran the first world championship that I attended, I think, in 2017, which was pretty awesome.
Memories.
So, you have a massive target on your back, I think, this round.
That's it. Well, I've always said I'd rather have the points and the problems than neither of those things.
That is very fair. Do you want to talk through how you got that target?
Yeah, absolutely. So, round 1, the board draw comes out, and it's Bradley, me, and Toby in the west, all together. Straight away, plunged straight in the fire. Now, Toby and I, we checked the details. We played 10 games together in the past. You can click on the database, so the evidence is there. And every single one of them we have fought. We just ploughed straight into one another. And normally mutual destruction. So it felt inevitable. But Bradley was there. I think, we spent quite a long time, the 3 of us, trying to figure out who was the turkey in the oven. And the answer was not sure, not sure. Ultimately, quite early I was able to get into Burgundy, and I was also in Skagerrak rather than Dead. So I just felt very edgy, could very easily have kept my options open, but could very easily have turned bad. And people would be like, this guy's playing both sides, no good, let's just get rid of him. The key to the game was that Austria went down real fast. Just he did a coup de panto and then disintegrated. So Austria was basically out. It was a Janissary of 1 by 1903, and it was clear that it was happening. And when that happens, you've got to cross 2 years of the game clock. It's not 1903, it's 1905, and you've got to get a move on. So I just tried to make the choice that would be the fastest choice, not necessarily the best strategic choice. And the opportunity was there to actually Bradley only had 1 army, but 2 fleets. So the opportunity was there to kill his army, which obviously then makes England very difficult to defend. So he did that. Russia was a great ally throughout, and we had a couple of run-ins, but they could just not get the juggernaut sorted. Russia and Turkey stabbed each other a couple of times, and that gave me the breathing space I needed to get to the borders. England janissaried into the north. France had to go south to worry about Italy, and as Germany, these are all the things that you want to happen. So very fortunate. Did get the gap 10-8. Actually tried to vote for a draw at 8-7, but got voted down. So people wanted to play a bit more, which I respect. Right?
And it worked out well for you.
And it worked out. So
yeah.
When in my perspective.
Significantly better than my Germany, it seems.
Well, it's interesting because the only real difference between our positions, I think, was that in your game, the South really got its act together quickly, and in mine, it didn't. And I wish I could take diplomatic credit for that. Really, it's just fortunate.
Yeah, this is what you were saying when you say you cut 2 years off the game, right? It's because the other side of the board is resolving too fast and you need to make sure your side is done by then. Otherwise, you get what happens to me and then all your units are locked on the line, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, so how are you planning to deal with the fact that you have a massive target for this round?
Look, I try and approach every game the same, smile on my face. I love this game, I love to play this game, and you know, if I'm the target, then defending is fun, right? And trying to find friends when you didn't have any before is fun as well. It's not all about, oh, look at me, I'm top of the board, I'm big, I get to move a lot of pieces, and it's really enjoyable to play an embattled game as well. It's a 1909 game, so even if in 1901 everyone wants to kill you, by 1903, if you can hold out, someone will have changed their mind, and by 1905, maybe everyone will have changed their mind. So hang in there, like, just try and get a solid position early. Obviously, if I draw, you know, Russia, solid positions don't exist. So
I would have thought
very
you...
dynamic then, but yeah, as Turkey, you know, that's probably the biggest risk. I get Turkey probably going straight out, but the other countries, I reckon I got a shot.
So you think you'd have more of a shot as Austria than Turkey here?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, over the years I've found that as Austria, your main tactic is to make sure that everybody around you knows, you know, that one of them is going to go down next, right? So if R&I is strong, then you can get Turkey on side, you know, and you can stay alive. I actually think Austria is a very stay aliveable country, like in terms of being viable. You can get down to 2 and you can rebuild from 2. Right? If you think about some of the other countries, England very difficult, Turkey very difficult, Russia obviously impossible. So, you know, yeah.
All right. Well, good luck today.
Thanks.
Hopefully not too good luck, because I would like a chance at that title too.
Of course.
But I wish you the very best, and well, just hoping everything goes well.
Fingers crossed, I'll have an even bigger target by Sunday.
One, which will be this table. In Austria we've got Abdullah. England we've got Gunther. France we've got David. Germany we've got Kai. Italy we've got Dan. Russia we've got Chris. And in Turkey we've got Isaac.
We're next to each other again.
And then on this table here, Austria we've got Ian. England we've got Theo. France we've got Conrad. Germany we've got Micah. Italy we've got Richard. Russia's Phil. And Klaus is Turkey.
Okay, so in case you want to know what a diplomacy tournament generally looks like, it's a lot of people talking in corners. Here's Conrad advertising the NADF, the North American Diplomacy Federation. Yes, and we are still on friendly terms despite yesterday, right? Awesome.
I had my fun then.
Yes. Which country are you playing right now?
France.
Oh, that's a pretty nice draw.
It is nice, although England is the France from yesterday.
Oh
There's
boy.
very specific views about the
Can I
game.
steal it?
Okay, yes, I will stop interrupting your negotiations here. So you'll see a few people talking around the board, right? Most people will go into random corners in order to avoid people listening into their conversations. And we have David here who has color matched his shirt with the country that he's playing. He brought 7 shirts along and has changed into the specific one. All right, well, I will keep you updated as the games go along.
Yes, Paul. Really up Paul. Ionian Turkey. Bosnia to Sweden.
Okay, Austria is up 2.
Ukraine to
2
Romania.
builds for Austria, 5. England is up 1, King Norway builds 1. France is up 2, King Belgium and Portugal builds 2.
Germany is up 2, against Denmark and Poland builds 2.
Serbia supports Ukraine.
Italy is up 1, against Tunis builds 1. Russia is up 2, at 6, builds 2. Turkey is up 1.
Okay, so I'm going to take this opportunity to comment on what I think is going on that board you just saw. So while I wasn't recording, Turkey told me that they thought that a Russia-Austria-Turkey alliance was in the works, and that they'd be taking down Dan Lester, who you saw interviewed earlier is the tournament leader. The moves didn't seem to reflect that. the moves seem to reflect Austria, Italy, Russia all going in on Turkey, all going hard in on Turkey. You saw Turkey move out to Constantinople. I think they did not think that Russia was going into Black Sea behind them, and Italy did the play of taking Trieste with Austria's agreement, I think, and going into Aegean so they have the extra build behind. That is an incredibly quick Turkish elimination, if it is going to happen. I'm interested to see if Isaac can wriggle his way out of this one. Alright, so I missed the moves on this board, but there appears to be a French fleet in the Irish Sea. It's quite the thing. Do you have any insight on that? Or?
No, I didn't see that one coming.
Do you want to talk about what's going on with yours at all?
I'm Italy in this game, so yeah, I just see a very standard opening from it.
Yeah. Double fleets with the convoy over to Tunis.
Pleased to see the army there, not fleet.
Well, I wish you good luck in this game. It certainly looks like an interesting board here.
A lot of armies just turned up.
Yep, very much so. I'm not going to get you to divulge your plans in case we've got people listening, but...
That's if you think I have a plan. I'm flattered.
Well, I mean, sometimes working one out later works perfectly fine, right?
I'm Italy, I don't need a plan. I can just sit and wait to see who fights who and then just decide later on.
That is absolutely true. Okay, I've gone to the Diplo Strats recording corner where no one is, once again, just so that I have, like, the potential to talk about what I've seen without it influencing the game too much, right? What we just saw there is kind of interesting, the attacks into England. It really isn't looking good for my round one ally Theo there. Attacks from all fronts, except the Russian didn't join in on it. And I did hear a little bit of negotiation before the turn went through. I heard a little conversation where... Oh, they are coming over this way, so I guess I have to go somewhere else. I did hear a little bit of a conversation in which they said that they couldn't convince the Russian to make the move this turn. And I'm interested in why that might be. I think Russia is maybe a bit afraid that this France-Germany is very, very strong, and are potentially worried about them just running over Russia afterwards. This is the France-Germany for reference. I'm sorry that I'm not showing much in the way of negotiation. That is, people are a little bit touchy about recording their negotiations. I've asked one pair so far, and I got an instant no. So I'm gonna stay off of that and just describe what I'm hearing. But yeah, it's certainly been an interesting time here so far. I will keep you updated as the game goes on. Not long until phasing now. I'm kind of interested to see what's happening on the second board over at the back, which I haven't really covered this phase. There's some super interesting negotiations going on there, because England is currently England and France currently allied against Germany, right? Germany is a completely new player. He's got the backing of Toby Harris, who is over there, a world champion. He is the son of Toby Harris, but he's never played a game before. And he's gotten attacked off the bat by England and France, which is just painful, that poor Germany. But everyone else on that board is just gathering around the table and telling him how to defend himself and like helping out. No one wants to see this EF win. It'll be interesting to see whether that's reflected in the moves here. I'm not sure whether he'll be able to hold out or not. Let's go see the moves.
And to Armenia, with support from Syria. Armenia to Ankara. Black convoys, Armenia to Ankara. Ooh. Romania Warsaw to say leisure.
I'm going to walk off this way to talk about this a little bit. So what you just saw there, potentially the most interesting move of that entire order set was that convoy, that Russian convoy of Armenia to Ankara. Absolutely incredible move. So the Turk tried to tap Armenia there. I didn't see whether it had support or not. I think I got there just a little bit too late for that. But the Russian clearly predicted that they were going to make that move and did a convoy swap. One of the most beautiful moves you can do in diplomacy, where you can swap 2 units' positions if you take one of the units via convoy, right? The Russian predicted that would happen. They entered the convoy order, and because it was a convoy and not a support, it went through. If it was a support, that's a Turkish cut on Black Sea, which I think happened, would have stopped that move from working. But you can't cut a convoy unless you completely dislodge it. So absolutely beautiful move. I think on Wardy's part there, he's sitting over there sandboxing the moves right now. Can't quite see him from this perspective. You might be wondering why everyone is putting their order sheets on their head. God. You might be wondering why everyone is putting their order sheets on their head like that. That is what they do in builds and retreats, is to make sure that you can do the moves immediately on the board. Just put them on your head and then all reveal at the same time, right? No negotiations during retreats and builds. It's to make sure that things are running along very, very quickly. So I will get back to you after the next round. In fact, might have a quick look at what happens over here. Obviously we can't see the moves on this board. We can see the results. So the first thing I noticed there, even though France hasn't made any progress, is that England is in a really bad spot. They've lost Norway, they've lost North Sea to the German as well. I'm really sad to see it because Theo was my ally in the first round. And I really, really wanted him to do well here. He didn't do very well in the last round, primarily because he stuck with me, so hopefully things go a little better, but it doesn't look good, and I don't know if you can survive a position like that, even with 2 armies in the British mainland. It's going to help him hold out for a little while, not for long enough.
That's why we're promoting guilds in the cafe.
So we've got more negotiations ongoing over there, all over the place, of course. I'm actually kind of interested in the fact that we've got this little group of 3 players outside the front door. That is Russia, Turkey, and Austria from the first game. And that player you just saw walk past, that's Abdullah. He is presumably going to interrupt that conversation, which I think is pretty much a necessity. You don't want the your 3 neighbors to just be talking to each other, especially when you're Austria in the middle of a bunch of them. I'm kind of interested in what angle Turkey is playing over there, because they've only got the 1 unit, of course, right now. But I guess they're trying to make themselves useful. Oh, and the England and Germany have joined them, so the entire board has just gone out the front door to chat. Alright.
It's the power of Dan Lester.
It very much is.
He went outside and everyone gravitated.
I was going to see if I could catch Dan for an interview, but I guess not at the moment. He's talking to too many people, being too good of a diplomacy player. Yeah, and we just have Germany left at the board. Yeah, so we have France here, right?
So far so good. Jumped into bed with England, trusting him. Let's see whether this is going to prove a wise decision or not. Like,
you've got your color-coordinated shirt on, by the way. Yes, this is. You brought 7 shirts to this event, right? Just in case. It's fantastic. Yeah, just so people know, that is the current position of the France-England. We will see how that works out. I just want to point out here very quickly that Dan told me before the game that I could grab him for an interview at some point, right? But he does not stop talking to people for like 1 second during this game. He is always with someone, even with the extra time on the clock. I guess that's what makes a world champion, eh? As this points out, you see he's written orders down, everyone's around the table, he's still talking to them. He's just like pointing out, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? He's been non-stop. It's incredible. Okay, just over there, you see the clock. 16 seconds left.
French, Gaston holds, Tunis holds, Ionian to Turanian Sea, Gascony to Ionian Sea.
What?
Oh wait, sorry, this was Italy. Sorry. Captain holds, Tunis holds, Ionian to Turanian Sea, Gascony to Ionian.
Gascony to Ionian.
Sure, that's not EAS.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, it does look like I should not.
I also read that the Gascony.
Sorry.
So, Turkey just managed to get Italy in. Well, Italy to back off there. They've somehow come back from a position that looked completely unrecoverable. They also came to me just before the phase and said they thought they weren't going to survive that and those three were all going to stick together. Clearly, they made something happen when they didn't think they had. I mean, face-to-face is just really, really different, right? I saw that in my first round. I made possibly the worst misorder that anyone has made this tournament by moving Sweden to Norway in a phase where I needed it to hold. But yeah, so just the pressure that comes in, you don't spot things, like so you write misorders, you don't spot things, you don't see the tactics that you would see in a 24-hour game, or even just when you're staring at a screen, right, for a 15-minute game. Alright, okay, so super interesting situation here on the other board. I'll put the graphic up to show the placements of all the units, because obviously I didn't catch this one. You see over there's three people discussing, right? That is Italy, Russia, and... Is that Italy, Russia, Austria? I think that's Italy, Russia, Austria, yeah. So, they are all discussing. They have been since the start of the phase. It looks from the actual board like Russia made a stab here. Like, look at that unit in Galicia. You can't see it very well because of the lighting, but there is a Russian unit in Galicia. There's another one in Romania. There's one in Black Sea. There's one in Ankara. So they're all along the Austrian line, right? And Italy didn't pivot towards France. They moved into the Aegean Sea. So Austria's in a really bad spot. But they're not talking to people individually. They are talking to both. I guess they're still trying to work in the triple. I guess we'll see. So really, really brutal takedown of Austria there. I think it was anticipated by the Austrian. That was why he was trying to talk to them and work something out. There wasn't really much he could do. There's no one who could help him against them, right? And weirdly, the tournament's leader, Dan Lester, there, in an incredible position. Despite the fact that he is the tournament leader, going into the next round he is going to be in a fantastic spot. France basically can't attack him, right? And we heard from France earlier that France is trying to make an England-France Italy alliance work and not building any fleets. And if you have no fleets, you can't go after the people through the Mediterranean or through the North Sea. So you can't really, well, through the northern seas. So you can't really stab either of them. We're seeing some handshakes there. Turkey got eliminated on that turn as well. So interested to see how that's going to turn out, but I suspect Dan Lester is going to be the big winner here. Okay, so we just had a really interesting, I guess, controversy on the board at the back there that you can't really see on this camera, but it's whatever. That would never happen in a sandbox game, right? Which was that someone had shifted the unit that was in Romania, the Russian unit, into Sevastopol. And so everyone had made all their plans for that turn on the basis of that unit being in Sevastopol, and then someone pointed it out right at the end after phasing, saying, hey, this unit should be in Romania. It got into Romania last turn. And so they had to call the TD over and say, hey, where is this unit? Like, everyone's made their plans on the basis of it being in Sevastopol, even. But it was actually supposed to be in Romania. Bradley made the decision that because it was on Sevastopol on the board for the entire turn, that's where it's been determined to be. So they're going to go through with those moves and take the misadjudication on the previous turn. It's a super interesting situation, right? It's what you never see in online play, because you have a perfect adjudication every time. But this is not an easy game to adjudicate, and that's not an easy GM call to make. Gonna be interesting to see if that actually affects anything. So I was commenting before about that long line of Austrian armies that you just saw. We were having a conversation about it on the board. It's super interesting, right? Because it's positioned between Russia and Italy, who are both Austrian allies. It's just positioned to go against either one of them, and no one knows where it's going right now, I think. It might just be holding back, given that the France-Germany alliance still seems to be holding strong. I haven't been following that board as closely as the other ones, so it's kind of tough to figure out exactly what's happening. But I'm just super interested in the fact that it could go either way. I really want to see it go one way or the other. I guess we'll see.
Army unit hold. Unit holds. Army Tyronia support units hold. Yeah. Army Vienna to Bohemia. Yeah. Army Budapest. Army Bulgaria supports Aegean to Constantinople.
So we have one retreat.
So it looks like that Austrian line that could have collapsed either way has now shifted to the front line. It's more positioned against Russia than it is against Italy. If they do stab, I suspect they're sticking together. This is going to be another Austria-Russia-Italy alliance going forward.
This goes, yeah? Does this go towards Forza? Hello, the one we were sure on, that's
So Livonia is cut.
This is the other board.
So this is bounced.
To me, it's looking like everyone is ganging up on poor old Russia there. Hello there. Yeah. So, it's super interesting, right? Germany is being pushed on the front line, and we've got like this France-England-Italy alliance that seem like they're just going to stick together. We heard from the France earlier, he's not intending to stab either of his neighbours, which could mean really good news for Dan Lester there in Italy. If he gets another big score, I'm not sure there's any beating him. If I'm playing tomorrow, I guess I'm going to need a solo.
No, Portugal supported Mid-Atlantic. I'm in error.
Yeah, so Leon's in Spain right now, and Marseille's back in. The fleet's back in.
Can I see the Italian?
So you're in.
Yeah, I'm in error there.
Hold on, how many centers do I have?
We are seeing a really tough decision for the French player Conrad there. He is unfortunately having to take one off because he ordered a support on Mid-Atlantic instead of on Spain. So the Italians slipped through. That was what you saw just then. He's there in Spain South Coast. Conrad cannot figure out what unit to take off. If he takes off Norwegian, I believe he will lose the attack on Russia, and that Baron's fleet is going to get out. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm curious what came off. Army Belgium. Alright. So, super interesting thing just happened that I'm going to stay very quiet about. If anyone comes near here, I'm going to stop recording. Dan Lester, over there. Right, we haven't seen his current board. He did just come up to me and say, hey, I have a solo guaranteed. Should I take it? I'm like, why are you asking me this? It's a bit odd, right? He didn't give a reason why he was asking me about it. He did like try and explain, hey, you know, I'm ahead anyway, do I even need to take it? Like, these other guys are gonna get punished. And I was like, yeah, take the solo. Like, if you have a solo chance, take it. It would lock in his win. I think he might be confident that he could win. That he could win anyway? We'll see. It's super interesting. But yeah. I really want to see him go for it. It would be incredible, I think. Okay, so we have a draw vote on both boards here. Bradley's going to stand in the corner and ask people to come through them one by one. They're going to say whether they're accepting or rejecting it.
I'm going to vote yes, because if everyone else votes yes but passes, then there's no point in trying to play because nothing's going to change. And if nothing changes, I'd like to keep playing, but
The idea is that people go up to Bradley. I think right now people are negotiating.
It's really up to you. You're the only one that can debate, but tournament-wise.
Yeah. We have 3 people. Conrad's heading up.
But yeah, for the game, yeah, of course, this game that we used to was playing. It seriously makes sense to do
Did class go up? No.
So everyone, if we were to use pieces, you'd find out how many vetoes we would have. If you were to use cards or pieces, you would find out. Okay, well you're playing on anyway. There we go.
So at least one person rejected that draw. Let's see how it goes on the other side.
Now I'm taking the draw yours. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stand in the corner over here. One person at a time, just tell me quietly, very quietly, what yours.
Hello.
And then just get someone else. So I'm going to stand all the way over here.
Do we need So here we have 6 people still. No, we have 5 people still alive. Austria and Turkey out.
Okay, any public vetoes? No? Okay, so I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do.
No one is publicly rejecting the draw. There could be a private one.
Well, if you're going to force Sweden, you can convoy Norway.
That's 2. 3.
I don't need anonymity, I'm happy to.
We need Gunter and Dan.
Have another 7 cents to 3rd place.
You proposed it. Really? Oh, there's only 5 of you. Yeah.
Dan?
Alright. Congratulations, you've got a draw.
So this game has ended like that.
Well played. Very good.
It was well done. Brilliant defence. Very dedicated.
So that is a 12 centre board top for Dan Lester. 8 for Gunter, 7 for David, 5 for Chris, and 2 for Kai in Germany. He could have soloed it, he decided not to. So yeah, I made a couple comments to people, not directly involved with the game, but that this board looks a hell of a lot like my board yesterday does. France-Germany versus an AIR that will not break. I was wondering whether that Serbia move might have been something more interesting. Maybe they were attacking, but I don't think it was. It feels like it was agreed just to keep them even, right? Italy did lose Spain. I think that was unavoidable. They might have been able to get Mid-Atlantic Ocean out of it if they'd have played different moves, but at the end of the day, that's just about some guesswork. You can't really fault anyone for that. So I guess we're staying at a stalemate. I'm still super curious who the draw holdout was. If I had to guess based on position, I would say Austria. But I also wouldn't think that Austria would be willing to just give up Serbia like that, if that was the case. Maybe they would. Maybe the army in Serbia can still be dislodged quite easily, and they could take Greece at the same time. But they have so many units pushed up to the German line. It's going to be very difficult for them to stab effectively. Well, 2 years to go. We'll see what happens. 3 years to go even. Okay, so I'm a bit late to this, but there has been another draw vote proposed. People are going through to Bradley to find out whether it's ended.
Alright guys, can I play?
Ah, it got rejected again. Alright, well, someone really doesn't want this game to end. We don't know who it is. If it's someone on the AIR side, they need to be fearful of a stab, and I think that's why no one is claiming it, right? We heard Conrad say earlier he would vote down a draw, but he wasn't going to because there'd be no point if no one else voted it down. Was that the truth? It certainly indicates to people that it might be one of AIR rejecting it, and if it gives that impression, that's quite a good thing for France. I guess so, yeah. Gunther is very happy that a draw has gone through, because he can now go to the pub.
I know what happened. Okay. Whether they want to reveal that.
Okay, so it seems like the draw went through the second time this turn? How did that work?
I did veto the first one, but not in the last round.
Yes, there have been 3 draw votes.
The first veto one I vetoed.
Okay. Well, congratulations to everyone left on that board. That's
the last one. That's forever.
Alright. Yes, it is the final centre cap right there. We have a board top at 8 centres for Ian in Austria. Joint 7. Joint 2nd for Conrad and Micah. Oh, that's an interesting ending. And then 6 for Italy and Russia there. So I guess Austria was happy to take that one. I would have assumed that it was Austria turning it down, but no one knows, apart from our GM there, who will not tell anyone. Alright, so I'm talking to the board topper of, I think that was game 1 in board 2. the person who came in with the biggest target on their back. Somehow
it's that guy again.
Came out with, again, the biggest target, but now I guess it probably doesn't matter, because you might have the tournament on lock already.
I can be beaten.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, a solo will do it, and something really big from someone with already had a score, 14-8, something like that, 17, will do it, will beat me.
Yes, but, well, it seems like you deliberately left open that possibility because you had the potential to take a solo at the end of that game.
Yeah, so I think if people are looking at the game and they look through it, I think they're going to be horrified. But I left it on the table like that, and yeah, I ended on 12, but I think the solo's guaranteed. I just don't see it. I've got three more just sitting there empty in Russia, and then I only need 3, and I've got there's only 1 fleet south of the channel, and I've got 3 very close, so I can flood that area pretty fast, and I'm not sure they can get enough material down in time while still holding Munich, and if Russia wishes to defend Warsaw Moscow, which I think probably would have done, and also to prop him up. So I would have had a lot of chances in those last. There's still 4 years left, so I still have a lot of chances. Yeah. And so why stop? Well, I mean, put simply, the answer is because I wanted to. I think I had people working with me the whole game. I had David working with me the whole game. We were in a really strong alliance where we didn't interfere with each other. And at any point, I think either of us could have broken that and sent forces at one another, and it would have been destructive to our games. Right? It would have taken away our agency and made things very difficult for us, and we chose not to do that throughout the game. I said to David, watch out when I get to 12, because I will come for you, and he didn't notice when I got to 12, and then I put all the units down, so I was in my rights. Like, I'm not saying it was... But when Wardy as well said, look, I can't do anything about this, I'm not going to fight you, I'm going to press back, I think you deserve to win the game, and I'm just going to hold in the north and hold that stuff up there, and I do it well, I support you, I think you deserve to win the game. When you're having conversations like that with people, I play diplomacy to enjoy it. And I've been playing this game long enough that I know that when I'm not enjoying it and I do things that I don't feel like I want to do, I start to play badly and I start to not want to play the game, and it changes my attitude and I actually become worse. And at this tournament I've come here to play good games and enjoy it and get good results. And I think that was a good enough result for me to be in a great position in the tournament. I think that will be very hard to catch on the last day, and that's enough for me. And there are people out there who say, but you had the shot at a solo, maybe a very good shot at a solo, how often do they come along? And I think that's fine. But also, I had agreements with people who behaved very decently to me on the board and acknowledged some inevitabilities, and I think ultimately that deserves some recognition as well.
Yeah, and obviously in a solo, situation, for those who don't know, everyone else scores near zero, or basically as close to zero as you can get in that scoring system, right?
That's right.
So I guess you didn't want to make all the other people on that board score zero just so that you could get a better result at the end of the day.
I think it's very difficult to spend all game talking to someone like David and talk to someone like Woody and to say and to tell them they're going to do things and they're not going to regret them, and then make them regret them.
Yes. I think that's really fair. Do you want also to talk to me through how in the start of that game did you manage to get people not to target you?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I spent the majority of Spring 1901 breaking up the Western Triple.
Right.
And I probably spoke to Abdullah for about 2 minutes. We talked about having a fast start and working together and being locked together. And I volunteered the idea that we would go after Turkey, and he was amenable. And I really love that Aegean move in 401 as Italy. I think it's really exciting, especially if Abdullah's willing to give you Trieste, which he was, right? And it makes you don't look big and scary. You've got Tunis in pocket, right? Yes, it aggravates Turkey, but that will incentivise Russia and Austria to continue to attack Turkey. So often Turkey will put on the fleet. Now, funnily enough, I did this exact thing against Andrew Goff in Turkey in the first round of World Championships this year, and it would have worked out perfectly if Nicola, the eventual world champion, hadn't misordered at a key moment and allowed, you know where I'm going with this, and allowed Andrew to be absolutely fine, right? So I think, there's loads of scope for it to go wrong, and I think as Italy you also get into that danger moment when Turkey goes down, that you're a bit strung out and you might have 6 or, but then there's Trieste to be nicked or Con or somebody, you're all really vulnerable. And that was the swing moment, and Abdullah and Chris Ward, that was their moment to destroy me. And I think they could have done that and should have done that. And so that was a very intense period of negotiation for me and of worry. But once I was through that, then sky's the limit. But the biggest danger moment was in Spring 01. I think the West were quite interested in a Western Triple. And I had spent an awful lot of time persuading them that was not a good idea. So
yeah, I mean, speaking of the time you spent persuading people, we mentioned at the start, right, that I might catch you for an interview at some point. I was constantly looking around. You were always talking to someone. There wasn't a moment where you weren't talking to someone, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That just seems incredibly unusual for diplomacy because there's usually one odd person out somewhere, right?
Right.
You made sure that it was never you.
Right.
How did you do that?
I mean, great question. I try to be a fun guy to talk to. Like, I want people to want to talk to me, and a bit of unsolicited advice, at the beginning, and people start to value that sort of thing, and check-ins, and always having something to talk about. Is so when someone is at a loose end, then they will be interested in just having that moment with you and just keeping on touching base. I think also something that I found recently in my games is that historically I have over-communicated with my ally. So you can spend a lot of time making sure that your ally is feeling comfortable and that you are together with them, and that can turn them off you. I suddenly realised that they get sick of you, they've had enough of you, right? So I'm actually really happy, like, just enough communication with your ally is another thing. So,
yeah. All right, well, thank you for your insight there, and I guess you'll be playing again tomorrow, even though you don't...
Absolutely, if we have the right numbers, I will. I think if someone has to drop, then maybe I should volunteer for that, but may the best person overcome me, and that's fine. I will say, I am absolutely shattered, exhausted. I really am. I'm really tired. So it took a lot out of me today. So thanks. I appreciate it, and it was a good game. It was a good game.
Yes.
To be honest.
All right.
One last thing to say about that. I think we can sort of criticise. I think it's important to we might look at the board and criticise people and say, well, why didn't they do anything about Daniel? Why aren't they stopping him? But the facts are that the way that the other players played on the board caused that to not be a solo chance. The reason why it's not a solo chance is that actually diplomatically they knew me, they figured me out, and that the best way to stop me was not to push a load of units at me, it was to get me to feel like I wanted to stop, and they succeeded in that.
Well, yeah, very good luck to you tomorrow. Not that you need it, of course.
Well, we all need luck.
Yeah.
I mean, I may be able to bring to mind a couple of occasions where I was comfortably in the lead and felt relatively confident about a tournament win, and then it didn't quite happen in the end. So anything can happen, and maybe I'll look back at this and regret not taking the points when they were there. We'll find out.
Yep, we will. All right, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm here with Doug and Hazel. Very nice to meet you.
Thanks, Marcus.
Yeah, you are the host for our Diplomacy Championship, right?
Yeah, and it's been wonderful. The guys have been here since Friday. It's now Sunday evening. It's all finished, and it looks like everybody had a lovely time.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Just to ask first, I mean, I had a few comments before about this looking a bit like an aircraft hangar, right? It's quite the event location.
It is a weird looking building. So what it is, we're under a bridge. So we're underneath Warrington Central Station and a bypass at the same time. That's why it's so long. It's like 3,000 square foot. But yeah, that's the reason why it's shaped the way it's shaped, because we're under a bridge.
Fantastic. Yeah, so this is Geek Retreat. I think I forgot to mention that.
We are Geek Retreat Warrington. It's just a place for people to come and chill, hang out, get involved in hobbies, find new ones. We go back to old ones. We have comic books in the corner for people to come and just use and abuse. These are all mine. This whole thing used to live next to my bed. So people can buy coffees, come in and relax and do that. We've got hundreds of board games for people to play.
Yep.
Lots of ones for the kids, as well as things like Dominion, Talisman. Just keep going. They're all there. And we're also a cafe as well, so people can come in, buy drinks and hot food from us and everything, because people like yourself today will spend the whole day here. So if we just keep going on, we have every TCG known to man, any card game, all very popular here, from Pokemon to Magic the Gathering, including the newer ones like Lucana, which is the Disney game, and also Star Wars Unlimited.
Yep.
Moving down, we have consoles where we have PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got emulators for all the SNES and NES games, a pool table, and then a space which you guys have used today, which is normally used for tabletop like Warhammer, Middle-earth, that kind of thing. And yeah, that's Geek Retreat Warrington.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people in and out all weekend as well. There's been Magic the Gathering players down here. There were some Warhammer people who set up next to us.
Friday night, I was one of those players.
Yeah, that was. It's been absolutely incredible to see. I also wanted to mention, right, there's no entry fee here. It's fantastic.
What we have is what's called the fair use policy. So that means whilst you're here, as long as every hour you're buying a drink item or a food item, then you get to stay. It's called fair for many reasons. One is that it's fair on everybody else, but also we have some quite high priced products here. So if you buy a Commander deck for $46.99, I'm not going to be coming over to you in an hour going, come on, time's time. It just keeps it fair. Fair use is the best way to put it. That way people are not having to pay an entry place or the horrible phrase of table tax.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Well, that's absolutely incredible, and like it's been so awesome to see so many people here playing board games all through, and for us to have a place to play Diplomacy for the entire weekend.
Yeah, and you guys are welcome back anytime. It's been an absolute treat. It's an event I don't have to run, so go Bradley. Bradley did a really good job this weekend of making it all happen. I even had the day off yesterday. I can't remember the last time we had a large tournament where I could actually take a day off.
Incredible. All right, well, thank you very much. It's been awesome to be here, and I hope the next one will be here too.
Yeah, me too. Thank you very much. Cheers.
All right, wakey, wakey, rise and shine. It's day 3 of the UK National Diplomacy Championship. And as you saw from the previous video, if anyone wants to get the win now over Dan Lester, they're going to have to go big or go home. He mentioned in his interview that he thought that some of the leading players would be able to get it without a solo. I don't think that's true. I don't think anyone got a good enough score to take that win from him without getting to 18 centers. And getting to 18 centers by 1909 is a huge ask. It's a huge thing to do. So we're going to hopefully see a lot of people going all out today. And of course, the hope is that I'll be playing this time around. We'll see. If that is the case, I don't know that I can pull a solo off, but I will certainly try. Oh yes, a quick update as well to do with my diplomacy strategy. Obviously, Didn't have the chance to get to use these yesterday. I'm not sure why the light's flickering so much, but yeah. This is the unnamed coffee pod that I mentioned at the start of the video. I had 8 of them yesterday. I thought, well, it'll be great because I'll have another 4, right, from the refill. So I'll have even more ability to trade things for them. Unfortunately, I think the hotel caught on to the fact that I was asking for coffee machine refills without actually using the coffee machine. Because as you can see here, they did give me a refill, but no coffee pods this time. So I guess I have these to trade and a Kit Kat for some reason. But no more coffee pods, so I'm gonna have to make do with 8. Hopefully they come in useful. Hopefully someone likes these unnamed coffee pods. My entire diplomatic strategy appears to be revolving around this right now, which is not a good way to go in, but diplomacy is a game you can't really plan for, so I don't really have any plans beyond that. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so I'm back once again in the venue. Just recording just before we start the round, because I had some very exciting news a second ago. Dan Lester came up to the table and said he couldn't really talk yet because he hadn't had his morning coffee. Which means I think my coffee pod strategy might work. I know someone it could affect. Obviously can't use it here and now, but I know that he enjoys it. So we will see. Okay, so this is my board. I am playing as France. I didn't have to sit the round out, thankfully, but it was a close run thing. Yeah, I'm France again. I hate France. Like, France is such a good country, but I drew them so often. Okay, heading off to the vlogging corner, I suppose. We got 1 minute left in the phase there. Super interesting times here. At the moment, I'm kind of playing all sides. I'm playing the waiting game as France, which is a risky game in a 1909 game. Is that going to get me where I need to be in time? I don't know. I'm mostly working with class. Problem is, class in England clearly has a really solid relationship with the Russian, right? And that means that if we get rid of Germany right now, then I have a problem going forward, because if class chooses to side with the Russian over me, I'm on my own against that. It looks like there's a solid juggernaut, so Russia-Turkey alliance, which is good for me. It means that I don't have to worry about Italy, I don't have to worry about Austria, right? They're going to be focused the other way. But I am concerned. The German is a really nice guy. Gunther is Russia, he's here to talk to me, so I guess I have to stop. Okay, so update from me. It is about halfway through the game. I haven't been able to do as many of these as I wanted to, just because I haven't got... I've basically had no time at all, right? Been talking constantly. I ran with an England up until a certain point, and then I kind of considered, okay, well, if I commit fully south at this point, I'm going to lose to this England. There is no way I will ever have enough builds to get north again, because Russia is just feeding England centers, which was what was happening at that point. Russia was solidly on board. So I decided to go for them. I made the stab. It was a pretty ineffectual one, unfortunately. And then I made some mistakes. And that has been that. I'm now on the defensive, hoping that Italy doesn't come for me. I think their best play might actually be to come for me, and I'm really hoping that that doesn't end up being the case. I'm trying to see what's going on from afar here. Maybe time to break out the secret weapon. I'm going to see if England likes coffee. Alright. I appear to have literally torn my order sheets in half. I think that mostly happened because my way of dealing with doing nothing has been running my pen up and down here, and it has scored this into 2 halves. Hello, Waddy. This is our sandboxer for the day.
Yes.
Thank you for being willing to sit out for this round.
No problem. Well, I only came like 18 miles, so can I just say thank you for reading very clearly and loudly and slowly.
That's fine. I know what it's like to do sandboxing. But yeah, really bad position for me right now. I'm stuck on the front line against England. I've not managed to flip Russia. I will never manage to flip Russia. They are a player who does not want to do anything against their ally from the start of the game. I also think it doesn't make much sense for them to flip, so it's completely fine to do that, but, you know, I'm experiencing frustration because I can't achieve anything in my negotiations. What else is happening? I just had I asked Italy to come and help me against England, just hold, right? It did work. He did help me hold against England. At the same time, he's just moved into Piedmont without my permission, and the Austrian decided to move from Munich to Burgundy without my permission, which I thankfully bounced. So, not a great situation, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna try and keep holding this line. You know, it's 1906, the end is 1909. You can get there, you can win. You can still win if you're alive by that point, right? If you've got a decent number of centers. Thankfully, despite me being on the defensive, I am France, so I have that to say huzzah to, I suppose. I am still on 7 centers. We'll see what happens in this next year. So I kind of wish I had a better backdrop for this. We have long since left the board game cafe, and I'm now walking back to my hotel. It was a great time. I ended up going to the pub afterwards and just having fun chatting with people about diplomacy and stuff. It's been absolutely awesome. I think actually I'm going to save most of my opinions for the hotel room, especially around the game itself, because I can't remember what I said on camera and what I didn't. That game was so hectic. I didn't get any time to record anything. I kind of said at the start of the game, I'm going to set aside some time to talk to the camera about stuff, and then I just didn't have time. There was one time where I went out to the corner and started vlogging and whatever, and then Russia was like at the table going, where the hell is France? What's he doing? Someone goes, oh, he's over there recording a video in the corner. It's like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in diplomacy. So I apologize if today's coverage is a little underwhelming. Just as I say that, car alarm is going off, so I'm just gonna wait until I'm in my hotel room to talk about the rest. Alright, so I am back in my hotel room. I'm watching the DBNI stream for the tournament that I was at, which is a little surreal. I haven't actually had the opportunity to do this before, just because I don't play in that many tournaments, right? Even though they cover basically everything. It's kind of awesome to see commentary on the games that I was playing. And actually, my game is coming right up. You can see it's game over for the game just previously, so that's why I'm getting this video out of the way quickly so that I can go back to watching this. I need to talk about what happened at the end of that game I mean, I was just commentating as far as I'm not sure where I'm going to edit this in, but I didn't get the chance to record anything more while I was at the event. So I'm having to cover what happened at the very end of the game here. So, it was a bit of a weird situation, right? It's a tournament game, and that means people are going to have different objectives by the end of it. For my game, a lot of people wanted Best Country Awards, mainly because Dan was so far ahead of everyone, right, that the actual tournament win wasn't a possibility for many people. And actually, my ally in England had told me this from the start of the game. He's like, I'm happy with Best England. I don't need anything more than that. And I didn't believe him, and that's part of why I stabbed him, right? And it was such a bad stab. You may have seen this or not already. I got the worst stab of the tournament medal, which at least I come away with something, I suppose. It's quite a flashy medal, I must say. I'm quite glad to have come away with it. It was an incredibly ineffective stab. I might splice in some DBN commentary of it right here to see how bad they thought it was, but I suspect their commentary is not going to be very happy with me, right? I needed to be in Mid-Atlantic Ocean before I made the stab. I stabbed by moving into Mid-Atlantic Ocean, and then all the fleets came in on me, and there was nothing I could push any further to do. Anyway, as I was saying, England had the objective to get Best England, Russia had the objective to get Best Russia, right? Those two were happy to just stick together and just get those results. And Italy came in and poked me from behind, and so did Austria, as you may have noticed from one of my previous vlogs when they came into Piedmont and Burgundy without my permission. That kind of made my line collapse. I couldn't defend against everything, had to take some 50-50s on Belgium and Holland, and then just, at some point, I just thought, I can't hold this. I have to choose who to give my dots to. And in the north, I had someone saying, if I take one dot, I'm happy with a board top, Like, I'm happy with getting best England. And on the other side, I had people who clearly wanted more. So I gave England what he wanted. I gave him Holland. And then I kind of hoped that he wouldn't take anything else. And he did end up taking one more dot, just to beat the England on the other board. But it was... I think that was reasonable. He didn't take anything more from me. He was a lot kinder to me than I think I deserved, given the stab that I made on him, right? Tournament diplomacy is weird. My mind isn't wired for non-anonymous tournament games. Just figuring out what to do in that situation and trying to play the meta of the tournament. Regardless of that, the games were an absolute blast. I really love them. Like, it's so fun to just be at a tournament again. I forgot how much I enjoy playing diplomacy face to face. It's such an intense game at times, but it's just, there's an atmosphere there that's just so much better than anything else. And like, the people who were there were just really happy to be perfectly friendly afterwards. No one left with any bad feeling, I think, despite some people getting stabbed pretty brutally, right? That's not going to be true of every tournament, but it was just amazing vibes all around. I really loved it. I went to the pub with everyone afterwards and just chilled and talked about diplomacy for like over an hour. It's just so fun to nerd out with other people who also love this game that's so niche and that no one I know in real life, like no one I know in my day-to-day life, actually enjoys. So, yep, that's the one. I really want to watch this this commentary on my own game, so I think I'm going to end my vlog here and might pick up another one tomorrow if I need to add anything on, but otherwise, I'll edit this together as is.
Alright, for this first one, Markus, maybe you should stop recording.
Am I not allowed to record?
You can, but it's the Rusty Stab Award.
Oh no.
And I had two sort of ideas, one of which ended better than the other. So for whatever the stab was you did on England, Markus, you get the Rusty Stab Award.
Thank you.
For whatever, Dan, you pulled off with that Italy in game 2 on both Abdullah and then Wardy, you get the best of. Okay, we'll start with best countries. Klaus is no longer here, he had to catch a flight, so he got best England, he's already left. Best Austria, we've got Ian. Best France goes to Conrad.
Really?
Yes, you did. Oh wait, no, hold on.
It wasn't me.
Yes, it was. It was your game where you allied with Micah, second game.
That deserves a award.
Yes, it does. France did terrible, and thank you all, because France is the best country, and you all did terrible at it, so thank you. I'm going to do these at the same time. I've got the best Germany and best Italy awards, both for Dan.
It's going to get heavy.
I was robbed. Best Russia goes to Gunther.
Oh, well done.
And best Turkey goes to Mike. And I'm just going to announce the top three. So in third place was Ian. In second place was Micah. And I think we all need this nest today. The winner is Dan Lester.
Can I just say, what a fantastic time I have had, and I know all of you, because you've all been saying it, what a brilliant tournament, superbly organised. We all know it's so much work, dealing with completely the wrong number of players several times, all done with a smile on his face, a really refreshing restart to this National Diplomacy Championship, as well as being a worthy winner. It was my title. I had to give it to someone. And you did. Thank you very much. Can we have a round of applause for the amazing
So thank you for the hosts of
Absolutely.
the whole
Thank you, Duggan.
Go on, anytime, guys.
Great.
Absolutely. And Hazel.
With that said, let's clean up and have some bits.